morning from Las Vegas. We are so excited and thankful to be here. We are here for a short and sweet weekend getaway. It's actually my birthday today, so it's a bit of a birthday celebration trip, and I've been to Vegas before.
Happy birthday!
Woo! I went to Vegas when I turned 21, or it was actually the month before I turned 21. My mom took me, which was really fun, so I'm so excited to take Brandon and explore. We mainly plan to stay around the Strip and explore the different resorts and all there is to offer, all the food, but hopefully tomorrow we'll make our way over to the Hoover Dam and kind of explore the outskirts. There really is such a plethora of activities and nature. I'm looking outside our window right now, and the desert mountains are just beautiful and such a novelty to us Floridians. It's quite a contrast to our landscape, so it's really fun to see, and again, just really excited and thankful to be here. We arrived late last night, so I'll go ahead and fill you in on everything that we did once we arrived. Once we landed, we took an Uber straight to our hotel. It was so fun because one, our Uber driver was incredibly nice, and two, he had this neat sort of starry projection on the ceiling, which just felt like a quintessential Vegas welcoming. We stayed at the Aria, which was a great location right in the middle of the Strip and close to everything. I am always so in awe of how absolutely massive the Vegas hotels are. Las Vegas is actually home to over half of the 20 largest hotels in the world. And if you put all of the resorts together, they account for over 150,000 hotel and motel rooms. So clearly this is definitely a destination. And again, I'm really just so in awe of how incredibly enormous these hotels are. We stayed on the 24th floor and clearly had lots and lots of city views. It's incredible how many lights there are in Vegas. And when we were flying in, you could just see miles and miles of lights. And another thing to note is the airport is actually so close to the Strip, which is of course the main tourist destination. You actually can see the Strip as you're landing, depending on what side you're on, and it only is about a 10 to 20 minute car ride depending on what side of the Strip you're on. And here we are now. We are off to breakfast. We plan to get breakfast at our hotel actually at Salt and Ivy. We'll see if they have availability, and then we just plan to kind of explore and see what there is to see, check out the resorts, and then probably have some downtime at our hotel later today, maybe check out the spa. We'll see. We're keeping an open mind, but we do have a fun show later this evening. So excited to spend time with you all and show you around Las Vegas. We had a lovely alfresco birthday brunch at Salt and Ivy. It was actually quite chilly this day. I want to say it was about 50 degrees. So we were hesitant to eat outside, but we just wanted to soak up the weather because it's so refreshing to us. And they actually had heaters all throughout the outdoor space. So we stayed nice and cozy, sipping on our coffee, and we had a fantastic meal. We got the breakfast sandwich, a bowl of berries, and this Danish pancake. It was quite unique. It was lemon and blueberry, so that personally isn't my favorite flavor combination, but we had to try it because it was such a special featured item on the menu. After breakfast, we took the tram from the Aria over to Bellagio, which it's a short and simple walk, but the tram's kind of fun because you get to see some views, so that was nice, and it is convenient because we did end up walking quite a bit each and every day, so it is nice to have a little elevated ride to take in the views. And I'm pretty sure you don't need to be staying at the resorts to take one of the MGM trams. Apologies for this shaky clip, but I was trying to sneakily record Elvis walking through the Bellagio lobby. This is just a typical Vegas Elvis sighting. We saw him multiple times. He is quite an icon in the area. The Bellagio is one of my favorite resorts that I've been to in Vegas. It is incredibly grand and opulent, and I'm about to show you one of my absolute favorite spots within the Bellagio. But first, we picked up a hot cocoa and took in the world's largest chocolate fountain. They have this running all the time, as far as I know, 24/7, and it's real chocolate in this gorgeous, artfully designed display. Definitely reminds me of Willy Wonka, but a really fancy and creatively designed fountain. Sipping on the hot cocoa while we strolled through the resort was a lovely pairing. We also stopped in this garden store that was decked out with Christmas decor, which made me very excited. And here we are at the Bellagio Conservatory and Gardens. This is absolutely awe-inspiring. I mean, the windows and just all of the incredible florals and the design of the garden additions is truly remarkable, and they actually change it up every single season. So whenever you visit, there will probably be something new, and I believe that even each year in the autumn, for instance, they'll have different theming for the autumn displays and so on and so forth. So the team that works on this is truly incredible, and I'm so inspired by this garden space. We spent quite some time strolling through and taking in every inch of the conservatory, and then we walked through the lobby, which also is quite beautiful with many different details and aspects to admire. So we walked through the front doors of the Bellagio and then strolled back over on the Strip, and across the street is the Paris Hotel, which we walked into and explored. Of course, the Eiffel Tower is the star of the show, and there's a restaurant within the Eiffel Tower, and then you also can travel up to the tip, so that's neat. And we also walked in through the casino, and it was a whole city in there. Each resort that we went in is essentially its own city with specific restaurants, cafes, shops. It really is wild. Again, each of these resorts is so incredibly massive. I hope that comes off on camera, but I feel like once you're there, you realize how extravagant everything is. But it was fun to roam around here, and then we went over to Caesar's Palace, and essentially we would just stop at the hotels, walk in the lobby, look at all the extravagance, and then continue down and explore the next one. The Venetian is another acclaimed resort on the Strip, and they're really known for their gondola rides because they have this man-made canal, as you can see, and they have these fabulous guides take you through, and I'm sure give you some history and entertainment. But the Venetian really is something to behold, and I feel like we could get lost in there because there was such a plethora of restaurants and shops to enjoy. I personally would say that 2 full days on the Strip in Las Vegas is plenty of time, and having those additional excursions is a great pairing, so you can get a bit of nature and a bit of the posh and exciting restaurants. And of course, there are many different ways to do Vegas. As you can tell, we were very interested in the food and taking in the design of all the resorts, but there are various ways to enjoy yourself. Exploring some additional resorts, we went back over to the Bellagio and enjoyed a meal at Sadelle's. During certain times of day, there will be a long line here, especially if you don't have a reservation, but thankfully we went at an off time, so we were able to get seated pretty much right away. But I love the atmosphere here. It's pink and blue and so classy, but also playful. We had a nice leisurely lunch, and then we decided to walk back to the Venetian because we researched some highly rated coffee shops in the area. And of course, there's the chains like Starbucks and Dunkin' and whatnot, but we really wanted to try something a bit more unique for us. So we found Dandelion Chocolate, which of course is known for their chocolate, and I actually was able to go to Dandelion Chocolate a few years ago in San Francisco. That's where they started, and I'm so glad we were able to come back while in Vegas and that they have a location here. The location is tucked away in the Venetian lobby, and it's its own little chocolate oasis. They have a variety of different pastries, and of course you can purchase chocolate bars, and they also have a ton of different drink options. So we knew we wanted a little caffeine kick, so we went with get the mocha, which was truly phenomenal, incredibly decadent. It's essentially like a sipping chocolate because it's so thick and creamy and chocolatey. It was really divine. On our way back to our hotel, we stopped by the Bellagio once again and enjoyed the Bellagio fountain show. This happens at various times throughout the day, so be sure to check the schedule before you visit. And typically it's every 30 minutes between the allotted time frame that they have showings, and this is absolutely incredible. According to the Bellagio's website, it is the most ambitious and complex water feature ever conceived. And that sounds about right to me because it is just so wild to see the water shoot up and how powerful it is. And of course, it's timed to music. We went to the 3 p.m. showing on this particular day, and it was so beautiful. It was coordinated to the song "I'm Proud to Be an American," and it was a really beautiful moment. There were actually people around us too, and I saw some people getting emotional because it is that impactful. On our way back, we also went through the shops at Crystal, which is actually connected. It's sort of in between the Bellagio and the Aria, and this is full of the tippity top luxury brands, so the creme de la creme, and it's fun to kind of look through the window and see what these super fancy stores have on display. We took a little breather at the hotel for a bit, and now we are off to dinner and a show, had an outfit change, and we're gonna stroll over to the New York hotel where we're gonna eat at this Irish restaurant. And then also at the hotel, we have our Cirque du Soleil show, which is called the Mad Apple, and apparently it's themed to New York, and it's a combination of comedy, music, talents, so we're really excited. We're not quite hungry yet because we had a late lunch, but I'm sure once we smell all the appetizing scents, we'll be ready to have a beautiful meal.
But now you're gone, and all I have is time. And though you're not...
We walked over to the New York hotel where we enjoyed dinner at 9 Fine Irishmen. This is such a cozy pub, which we're not too familiar with pubs or Irish food, so we weren't totally sure what to expect, but our waitress was so incredibly kind. Her name's Celeste, and she gave us the full history about the restaurant and shared that it's actually designed and inspired by a group of Irishmen, and allegedly in 1848 these men were fighting for Irish independence. So that's what inspired this restaurant, and they actually built all of the furniture and different components throughout the restaurant in Ireland, and then they shipped it over to Las Vegas. So that was super impressive to learn, and you could really tell by the details. We've never been to Ireland. Hopefully we'll be able to go someday, but we did feel like we were transported there, at least for the night. We had some onion rings and beer cheese for an appetizer, and then for our entree, we shared the salmon, which was the special of the night. And we had 2 desserts. We had this delicious bread pudding along with a Guinness chocolate cake, which was my favorite. And now it's time for our show. We saw the Mad Apple by Cirque du Soleil, and this was a treat. It was a bit wild, I will say. It was really, really neat. I hadn't been to a Cirque du Soleil show in so long, so I was really looking forward to it, and I'm glad we got to experience it. So this particular show is a combination. It's sort of like a medley of comedy, dance, music, magic. There were jugglers, acrobats. It really was full of such a variety, so that was neat. And some of the comedy jokes were definitely a bit smutty, but everyone was so incredibly talented, and our jaws dropped multiple times. I need to research how magicians do their tricks. I know that's the whole shtick, is that magicians never tell their secrets, but I have to know.
I'll never forget you, baby. Oh, I'll never
ready for another full day in Vegas. We had a nice slow morning, which was super relaxing. We slept in and then strolled down to the downstairs of our hotel and got some juice and coffee and some snacks because we have brunch reservations that we're about to head out to, but it's not till 11:30, so we had a light breakfast earlier this morning and we've just been relaxing, which is really nice. And I think we've decided we're not going to head over to the Hoover Dam today, which I'm kind of bummed about because I feel like Brandon would really love it, but we don't want to pack too much in and we want to be able to savor everything and have a little slowness, which I feel like when we travel, typically we're go, 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 go. So it's nice to have a different change of pace, and maybe we'll even go to the spa today. We'll see. What was your favorite part of yesterday, Brandon?
Probably the water fountain show.
Oh,
So
yes, at the
cool.
Bellagio. We want to do
Yeah.
that at night, later tonight, so we can see it during the day and during the night. I think my favorite part was the conservatory and botanical gardens at the Bellagio.
Yeah, that was really
It's just so gorgeous. It's beyond, and it's so neat how they change it for all of the different seasons. So those were a couple highlights, but when you look back and think of what we did yesterday, we did so many adventures. So it's fun to kind of reminisce, but excited to make more today. We walked over to Park MGM, which is connected to the Nomad Hotel, and the Nomad Bar was right at the entrance near the valet, and this was a really swanky spot. I love the design, and for brunch, they actually have live music, which was definitely a highlight. I love live music, and the artist who was here on this particular morning was incredibly soulful and talented, so that was lovely to accompany our meal. And for food, well, one, we got the salted vanilla latte, which was the perfect amount of sweetness. I love a salty sweet juxtaposition, so we loved that. Oh, and I wanted to show you the menu. Our waiter told us that in the Nomad logo is actually every letter that is within Nomad, the word, so that was an interesting tidbit. And for food, we got the avocado toast, this gorgeous berry bowl or fruit bowl. There was also these cute heart-shaped watermelon pieces, a Caesar salad, and for dessert, we had breakfast dessert. We ordered this stunning Bananas Foster's pancakes, and they had this whole beautiful presentation of lighting it on fire, which again, Vegas just takes everything to the next level, so this was such a treat. And our waiter actually took us over across the way to the Nomad Library because it was closed during the brunch hours because it's open at night, but we really were hoping to see it because I have a thing for libraries, and this is of course a restaurant, but all of the books are real, and while you dine, you can actually pick up the books, flip through them if you want, so I really love this concept, and of course, it was dreamed up really well. We walked through the Park MGM a bit more and walked through Italy, which is a whole experience in itself. It's a bunch of different food markets inspired by Italy, so a great spot for a quick bite. There are many different reasons why people visit Vegas, but for us, clearly, we came for the food. We truly went on a food tour, and Vegas is actually rated one of the top 10 places in the US for fabulous food, so there are many well-renowned restaurants and restaurant concepts that will open an additional location in Vegas because there's such a market for it. After our brunch, we were ready for a nice stroll, and our next destination was visiting the Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas sign, the welcome sign at the south end of the strip. From where we were, it was about a 2-mile walk, so definitely put on your walking shoes if you want to visit, or of course you could take a car. I did notice that there were a few parking spots at the sign, so something to consider, but again, it's really fun to walk around because we were able to stop in various hotels and kind of take in sights as we desired. And we stopped in front of the Tropicana Las Vegas Hotel because it was a great view of the New York Hotel, a fabulous picture spot, and we also walked through the Excalibur, which again is its own adventure, lots of different details, and again, I sound like a broken record, but so incredibly massive with a ton of different shops and restaurants. It's its own kingdom, truly. We also walked through Luxor and Mandalay Bay. Within Luxor, there's a few different exhibitions you could explore. There's one on the Titanic, and then there is an Egyptian one as well, so that's an activity idea. And I will say I would recommend doing a day trip to the Hoover Dam. My mom and I went when she first took me to Vegas, and it was really neat. I really want to take Brandon sometime because I know he'll love it. And we also stopped at this Seven Magic Mountain, which is a desert art installation, and it's really neat and fun to take photos at. So those are a couple day trips ideas, and there also are tours that will take you to the Grand Canyon. But for us, we really were on a food culinary journey, so we spent a lot of time just sitting and leisurely enjoying a meal, which was a great change of pace for us when it comes to travel, because typically we're go, go, go. We got our selfie with the Las Vegas sign, and then on our way back, we passed this pinball Hall of Fame, and we were so curious, so we went inside, and essentially it's this ginormous warehouse full of these vintage pinball machines. So this is a really unique experience, and if you're a pinball fan, you gotta go here because clearly it's something to behold. We also passed this little Church of the West wedding chapel, which is so precious, and it's actually quite historic because it was the very first wedding chapel opened in Las Vegas in 1942. And we even saw a few couples getting married, which was so fun to see. We decided we were ready for a little thrill, so we went back to the New York hotel and rode the Big Apple coaster. It was wild, definitely one of the fastest and tallest and longest roller coasters that we've ever been on. It was really, really hilarious. We were screaming on the top of our lungs, but it's a great way to see the views. I mean, you're really high up there, and even though it goes super quickly, there's some parts of the roller coaster that slow down a bit so you can really take in those Las Vegas sights. Once we were back at our hotel, we stopped to grab a bite to eat at Din Tai Fung, and this is a really highly rated restaurant. I believe they have quite a bit of locations throughout the country, and it was really neat because we got to see some of the chefs making the bao, the dumplings, and the wontons, so that was really neat to witness them making the magic. We then went over to Pressed to try one of their freezes, which I've heard of these before, but we don't have a Pressed location near us in Florida, so I was excited to try it. But essentially it's a soft serve that's plant-based and made out of fruit and nuts, so we got the vanilla freeze with some chocolate drizzle, and it was a great little sweet treat. Then we went back to our room to get ready for dinner, and we were able to catch the sunset, which was really, really stunning. Before dinner, we went back to the Bellagio fountains because we wanted to see the water show at night also, which I highly recommend seeing it during the day and the night. If I had to pick one though, I would say the nighttime show is even more spectacular because they pair the water with lighting as well. So that was really, really beautiful, and they had an old-timey song paired with this. So we were dancing, and we actually viewed it from right outside the lobby, so we had a different perspective, which was a nice twist. For our final meal of the trip, we went to Jean-Georges Steakhouse, which this is a very classy and posh establishment. We felt really luxe eating dinner here, but everything was phenomenal. We especially loved the bread and butter. Oh my goodness, as simple as it is, it was extraordinary. And then the butternut soup was wonderful. Our salad, our entrees, it all was a delight. Just finished such a phenomenal meal. It was fancy schmancy, so delicious, great atmosphere, very snazzy, a wonderful way to cap off the trip. This trip has been very special, quite the celebration. I feel like it was the Vegas food tour trip because we really ate our way through the strip and had so many beautiful meals and fun recipes. I'm feeling inspired to be more experimental when we get back home with cooking and stuff. I think that'll be you too. It was really, really sweet though. Thank you all for following along. We're just gonna get to bed now, hop on a plane tomorrow, and head home. But I really hope you enjoyed this Vegas travel vlog, and I cannot wait to see you next. Bye!
Bye!